So, if you are interested in federal contracting and you are a startup, there is a program called the Startup Springboard that can really help you big time. And but the thing is, you got to know how to really approach this process to actually win. So, in today's conversation, I want to really talk to you about the GSA's Startup Springboard, so you can really increase your chances of approval when it comes to federal contracting. So let me first explain to you what the GSA Startup Springboard program is. Okay. So the GSA actually is the General Services Administration, right? So this is actually the one of the regulatory agencies that oversees the government contracting at the federal level. So the GSA created this program, the Startup Springboard, to help innovative businesses, startups, and non-traditional government contractors secure a multiple award schedule, a mass contract. So the thing is, usually when it comes to a government contracting, people are thinking, entrepreneurs are thinking that you got to be big, you got to be a prime, you got to be of a certain size to actually qualify. But that's not true. If you're a startup, you can qualify. Okay. So this contract, the startup springboard sort of process, allows businesses to sell directly to the federal government. Okay. And again, here, size or operational longevity is not really an issue. If you are a startup, you can actually qualify for contracting. Okay. Of course, you got to go through a certain process, but you can qualify for sure. So normally, companies must show 2 years of corporate experience and past government performance to actually qualify. Now, the Startup Springboard removes this barrier by allowing businesses to use the experience of key personnel, affiliated companies, or commercial success instead. So it's like you're going to apply for a job, right? And they want you to have a certain number of years of experience. But if you don't have that longevity, that professional longevity, you can actually equate your expertise or your skill set with that. Like you can equate that with your the operational longevity. So by removing the traditional restrictions that you have in the federal contracting program, the Startup Springboard enables startups and small businesses to compete for contracts that would otherwise be out of reach. And that's a good thing because that encourages competition. And this initiative aligns with the government's push for innovation by allowing new companies to offer cutting edge products and services to federal agencies. So the thing is, when you think about the GSA's Startup Springboard, you are speaking about a particular niche or a sub niche of companies. Okay, so let me talk to you a little bit about who is eligible, what companies are eligible for this Startup Springboard. So the program is designed for startups and new businesses without 2 years of corporate history. So if you're listening to me right now, you have an idea that's really innovative, that's cutting edge, and you just started. Okay, no experience at all. You can still qualify for contracting. Okay, so this program actually speaks to you. And the program is also designed for tech firms, innovators, and small businesses with commercial success, but no federal past performance. In other words, you've been successful in the private sector, right? You have won contracts from businesses, but never done business with the federal government or even state agencies. Hey, listen, the Startup Springboard is open to you. The GSA's Springboard program wants you to really apply. This program is also designed for companies expanding into federal contracting from commercial markets. Okay, this is pretty good. And finally, the program is designed for businesses with experienced leadership teams who can demonstrate industry expertise. So basically, if you have accumulated over the years some type of industry clout, industry savvy, industry expertise, but you have no idea about contracting with federal agencies, this program is also good for you. So you can see in the end that the program is called the GSA Startup Springboard Program, but it's actually open to non-startups. Originally, it was designed for startups, but as the program evolved, the government has tried to expand, has actually opened, has opened the eligibility requirements to cast a wider net. The whole idea here is to actually cast a wider net because even if a company is brand new, it can still qualify by demonstrating its capabilities through key personnel or affiliated company experience. This means that companies with leadership teams that have successfully delivered similar products or services in the commercial market can leverage that experience for eligibility. So let me talk to you about how to qualify without past performance. So if you want to qualify through the GSA's Startup Springboard, you really need to follow a certain logic. Okay, certain logic. I think I've said this before. There is a specific process to actually follow if you want to boost your chances of approval. And I will talk about the four things. I'll speak about key personnel experience, affiliated companies, commercial success, and alternative supporting documents. Let's first talk about key personnel experience. Here I'm speaking about founders, leaders, CEOs, CFOs, CMOs. So everybody like a very high level. We're not speaking about the rank and file. We're speaking about middle level management or upper level management. Okay. So you want to highlight expertise from executives, managers, and key staff. We are speaking about C-suite. I would say personnel. Okay, and you want to provide resumes, references, and descriptions of past work. See, the whole thing is if you want to highlight the key personnel experience, you got to be as extensive as possible. It's not just relevant to say, yeah, we've got this people. They are very great. They're expert in their field. But if you don't demonstrate, if you don't substantiate that expertise, you're not going far. And you also want to show how their experiences directly relate to the services or products your company offers. Because see, the thing is, just to actually pinpoint random experiences or random expertise and not being able to contextualize that experience or those experiences is not going to really bring you far. You want to contextualize those experiences. So that's for the key personnel experience. What about the affiliated companies? So if your business is part of a larger structure, use the past performance of affiliates. Let's say you are a subsidiary of a larger entity, for instance, and the larger entity has experience dealing with I would say at least working at a higher level, either for the government, with the government, or actually in the commercial space. So parent companies or subsidiaries can provide supporting documentation. That's definitely fine, not a problem. And also, you want to demonstrate, and this is an important element, you want to demonstrate that your company has the internal resources and expertise to fulfill contract requirements. Because see, you're asking the government to actually to award you some contracts, but if you don't have the resources to actually carry out your duties under the contracts, then you're actually wasting the government's time, right? They just that's why they wanted to give it to companies that have at least 2 years of operational longevity. Next, when it comes to the GSA's Startup Springboard, you got to think about commercial success. So when I say commercial success, we are speaking it not just in the private sector. It can be commercial success because your commercial success is actually shown or at least evidenced through your financials, through your reputation, through your marketing ability, through your marketing competency, through reviews you have accumulated online, social proof, those things. Okay, so but when it comes to demonstrating commercial success, you got to demonstrate a record of selling products or services in the commercial market, either locally, in your county, in your city, in your state, or nationally. Okay. And so the best way to actually demonstrate commercial success is to actually provide contracts, testimonials, and financial documentation. I said this before, financial statements, especially your income statements, right? And you can do this over 3 months, over 6 months, over a year, over 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. It really depends how long you've been commercially successful and how long you want to prove that you have been so. And you want to show how your company has successfully met customer demands and delivered quality products or services. And you can only do that several ways. I mean, you can do, I think I've said this before, but you can do this through reviews, for instance, through testimonials, right? Through contracts. If you have signed contracts with major clients, B2B clients, major companies, you can actually use that. If you have good references, good professional references, that's pretty good too. And you also can have alternative supporting documents. So instead of government past performance, you can supply letters of recommendation, case studies, industry certifications, or third party audits. As long as the auditing company, the auditing agency is actually certified, that's pretty good. Okay. And you want to outline the steps your company has taken to ensure quality control and compliance with federal standards, right? That's important. Now, let me talk to you about the steps to actually apply for the GSA Startup Springboard. Okay, actually, you have five steps, five important steps that you need to methodically go through. First, you want to determine eligibility. Next, you want to register in sam.gov. Third, you want to prepare documentation. Fourth, you want to submit the GSA schedule offer. And fifth, you want to review and actually you want to go through the review and approval process. Let me talk to you about the top three, the first three steps. So when I say determine eligibility, you have to really understand that the SBA, the Small Business Administration, has set some criteria for validation, some criteria for eligibility. Okay, so you want to assess whether your business meets those criteria. That's number one, because if your business, no matter how good it is, if it doesn't meet those criteria, you can't really go to the next steps, okay? So you also want to identify alternative past performance evidence, because if you are a startup, you want to see how you can prove to the government that you have done well in the past, that you have worked on other jobs successfully. You also want to consider working with a consultant to ensure your application is as strong as possible. Why? Because federal government contracting can really yield millions of dollars in revenue. So it really makes sense to have someone who has experience accompany you through the process. Because the whole idea here is that basically you want to have a professional by your side. It's like if you go into court, if you have a legal matter, you can go to court and actually speak to the judge yourself. But having an attorney gives you more confidence that your case will be heard properly. Your case will be prepared properly. It's the same process with government contracting. You can do it yourself. But if you have a consultant, you have a professional who has done it years and years, who has done it over several years, who has worked with tens or hundreds of clients successfully, if you want to enlist the help of that professional, that's a lot better than actually doing it yourself, okay? So it's all about determining eligibility. So that consultant can help you determine your eligibility, at least validate your eligibility. Next, you want to register in sam.gov. So this is really important from a flexibility point of view. When I say registering in sam.gov, you have to really understand that SAM is actually the central repository for federal contracting. Okay, so SAM stands for System for Award Management, and this registration is essential for any business seeking federal contracts. Okay, if you're not registered, you can't really talk to contracting officers. And you also want to prepare documentation. You want to gather key personnel, resumes, commercial contracts, customer references, and financial documents. And you want to ensure all required documents are formatted correctly to meet the GSA's submission guidelines. And you got to have that sort of level of, I would say, some level of granularity. Next, you want to submit the GSA schedule offer, actually, okay? So if you want to really get into the GSA's Startup Springboard program, you got to have the scheduled offer. And the scheduled offer is important because it really crystallizes your offer better. When contracting officers read that scheduled offer, they know exactly, okay, you are like, you want to categorize your offer or your services or your products in a specific niche. So work with a GSA specialist to submit a proposal under the program guidelines. You want to address compliance requirements and negotiate pricing with GSA. And you also want to provide additional information if requested during the review process. And that's important from an efficiency point of view, right? So please, when you have the review process going on, you want to be as fast as possible. If they ask for documentation, don't wait forever to provide contracting officers with a documentation sought, okay? And then you have to really undergo the review and approval process. So the GSA will review your application, conduct negotiations, and finalize terms, okay? And once approved, I really hope that you will be approved. Your business can begin selling to government agencies, even if you're a startup, okay? Because you will have that approval, and you can really show that approval when you apply for contracts. And now, one thing I want to say here is that the review and approval process doesn't happen overnight, okay? The SBA can be really busy. They have thousands of applications to review. So bottom line is, this review and approval process step can take several months. So it's important to remain patient and proactive. In other words, you want to continue networking, okay? Even if you're not approved yet, you have to continue networking all the time. So if you're thinking about the GSA as a startup springboard, you got to think about the fact that a GSA schedule can help you big time. Now, why should you consider a GSA schedule? Well, a GSA schedule provides several advantages. It's not just the schedule itself, it's all the advantages that come with a schedule. For example, the schedule simplifies sales to federal buyers by pre-negotiating pricing and terms. You have to understand, federal buyers are really busy. They actually have to oversee tens of thousands of contracts every single year. So if you can simplify the sales process for them, that's pretty good. Also, a GSA schedule provides like, it helps you out in terms of increasing credibility with government agencies, making it easier to secure contracts, okay? And it opens access to exclusive opportunities that require a GSA schedule, because there are some opportunities that require specifically a GSA schedule, and those are the requirements there are pretty strict. Like, for those set aside contracts, for instance, if you don't meet the requirements, you can't really talk to a contracting officer, okay? Also, a GSA schedule offers a long-term revenue potential with contracts lasting up to 20 years. Can you imagine that? If your business can actually sign a contract with the US government for 20 years, you know that you're set, because the government ain't going anywhere. The government is not going to file for bankruptcy, okay? So if you have a contract for 20 years, if you manage it properly, that shows already wealth for you and your family. And also, a GSA schedule provides greater visibility on GSA e-library and GSA Advantage, okay, helping agencies find your business more easily. So many companies that obtain a GSA schedule find that it serves as a gateway to additional federal contracting opportunities. And with a GSA schedule, your business gains a competitive edge in the government marketplace and can more easily market its services to agencies that require pre-approved vendors. Okay, so that's really good from a flexibility point of view too, and also from a credibility point of view. So now there are some common challenges that you might actually find. Okay, while the Startup Springboard program makes it easier for startup to enter the federal marketplace, businesses should be aware of common challenges. Okay, first of all, understanding GSA compliance requirements. Okay, your business must ensure that it basically meets the GSA's standards for pricing, reporting, and contract fulfillment. You also have pricing strategies. So you must demonstrate, your company must demonstrate that its pricing is fair and reasonable compared to similar vendors. And also, marketing to government agencies can be a little complicated. Even with a GSA schedule, your business must actively market itself to federal buyers to secure contracts. So, in conclusion to this conversation, I spoke to you about the GSA's Startup Springboard. I explained what the program is, who is eligible, how to qualify without past performance, how to apply to that particular program, and I spoke in the end about the GSA schedule. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.